call the Peru Board of Public Works meeting to order on December 21st, 2021 at 5 p.m. First order of business is reading approval of the minutes in the last meeting.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Motion been made by Ron, second by me, to reading and approval of the minutes as written. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next order of business is the payment of claims, $214,647.50.
Make a motion that we approve the claims as submitted.
Motion made by Ron, seconded by me, that the payment of claims of $214,640.50 be made. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next order of business is regular payroll of $182,019.26.
I'll make a motion that we approve the regular payroll as submitted.
I'll second it. Motion been made, regular payroll by Ron, seconded by me, of $182,019.26 be paid. All in favor signify saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Old business. Seeing none, moving right along under new business. Opening of bids for street, road, and alley materials.
I'll make a motion that we open the bids.
I'll second it. Motion been made by Ron, seconded by me, that opening bids for the street, road, and alley materials.
I'll say aye. This is from Irving Materials. Item 1. Let's see. Is anybody here from Irving? They've just got item 5 highlighted. I was just wondering if that's all they're bidding on. Looks like 5 and 6. Item 5 is 1,000 tons or less, Indiana specifications, Class A, 4, 5, 8, 11, 12 gravel, FOB and wash, 23 by 34 sand. And item 6, 10,000 tons or less, Indiana specifications, Class 8 limestone, 33, 53, 73, and riprap FOB. I can find that. Item 6, the number 5373 commercial stone, $9.30 per ton. Number 33 commercial stone, $9.80 per ton. Chips, $7.85 per ton. And state riprap, $23.15 per ton. And item 5 is number 2324 washed sand, $13.70 per ton. Number 4812 gravel, $23.85 per ton. This is E&B paving. Looks like their bid items are going to be 1 and 2. Item 1 is 20,000 gallons or less tack coat, complying with the 2018 NDOT standard specifications, furnished and applied on streets, alleys, and other areas as designated. Unit price, $2.50 per gallon. Item 2, 10,000 tons or less, hot mix asphalt, corresponding to 2018 NDOT standard specifications, section 402, furnished, spread with paving machine and rolled on city streets, alleys, and patching. Bid shall be based on the following mixes: HMA base 25.0 millimeter type B, $73.04 per ton. HMA intermediate 19.0 millimeter type B, $76.36 per ton. And HMA surface 9.5 millimeter type B, $86.50 per ton. And all mixtures contain virgin materials only. Let's see. Also on item 2, HMA based 25.0 millimeter type B, $64.95 per ton. HMA intermediate 19.0 millimeter type B, $68.27 per ton. And HMA surface 9.5 millimeter type B, $78.45 per ton. All mixtures contain wrap per the allowable NDOT specifications in section 402. Okay, he's got all his forms in there. This is Dot and Son. He's bidding on items 1 and 2. Item 1, 20,000 or less gallons tack coat per 2018 NDOT specifications. Unit price, $4 per gallon. Item 2, 10,000 or tons or less hot mix asphalt per 2018 NDOT specifications, section 402, applied on city streets, alleys, and patching. HMA base 25.0 millimeter type B, $78.90 per ton. HMA intermediate 19.0 millimeter type B, $78.90 per ton. HMA surface 9.5 millimeter type B, $83.95 per ton. All materials produced using virgin materials only. Got all. And that's all the bids.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bids as presented to be awarded later.
I'll second that. Motion been made by Ron to accept the bids as presented, be awarded at a later date. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving right along, 2 items from Chief Sofianos on behalf of the Peru Police Department. Item number 1, dear Board of Works members, I write you today to inform you that Sergeant Lee Mitchell is resigning his rank as sergeant effective January the 1st, 2022. Sergeant Mitchell is requested to return to the rank of patrolman and will be reassigned done an excellent job as sergeant, and his leadership in that capacity will be greatly missed.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request to allow Sergeant Mitchell to resign and return to patrolman.
I'll second it. Motion been made by Ron, seconded by me, effective January 1, to allow Sergeant Mitchell to withdraw being a sergeant and return back to patrolman, effective January 1, 2022. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I will have it. Number 2, with Sergeant Mitchell's resignation of rank, I request that Officer Zachary Atkins be promoted to the rank of sergeant. Officer Atkins has served with the Peru Police Department with distinction since his appointment on July 13, 2015. Prior to his appointment at the Peru Police Department, Officer Atkins served as police officer at the Converse Police Department and as a dispatcher at the Marion Police Department. Officer Atkins currently serves in the day shift patrol operations as a patrolman and is a field training officer and defensive tactics instructor for the department. In the past, Officer Atkins also served as a detective in the Peru Police Department Criminal Investigations Division. He is shown to be a proven leader and is well respected by his peers. If the Board of Works approves Officer Atkins' promotion to sergeant, the promotion will be effective January 1st, 2022. Respectfully, Dan Sofianis, Chief of Police.
I make a motion that we grant Chief Sofianis' request and approve Officer Atkins to be sergeant.
Motion's been made by Ron, seconded by me, that effective January the 1st, Officer Atkins be promoted to the rank of sergeant on day shift. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving right along. Building Department request. The approval for electric license for Nathan Christ of All Enterprises Incorporated. The Building Department is requesting for electrical license for Nathan Christ of All Enterprises LLC, passed with 83%.
I'll make a motion that we grant the license.
Motion been made by Ron, seconded by me, approve the application for electric license for Nathan Christ of All Enterprises LLC, passed with 83%. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Communications. Do you have anything?
No, sir.
I have a couple of questions on the check register.
Okay.
The first one is the $540 to Garden Gate. Was that Garden Gate Cafe? Was that for your guys' Christmas party today? Yes. Okay. And then the crypto consulting $5,200. What is that for?
Who?
Crypto consulting.
That would have probably been a computer for the police department.
Okay, so it's a computer, not like crypto
Yeah.
software.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the finishing touches, I noticed that check's voided out for $18,000, and then there's a new check that's issued for $9,000. Is that for the new fire station?
Yes.
And the Menards on here, is that also for the new fire station?
There could be there at $427.
There is one for $400, there's also one for $2,500, there's also another one for $3,400.
The $400 is for the new station. That was the-
That could be any department. That could be the parks, that could be golf, that could be.
Okay, so you don't know where that one goes to. What about Schleppenbach Construction for $1,500?
I have no idea. Schleppenbach.
I don't know
Off the
who
top of my
turned that
head.
one in.
I mean, it'll be in that packet right there.
Yeah.
Would that Menards bill, would that be a combination of the departments? Because we've spent a few hundred on Menards because we're putting a storage out back of our shop right now to kind of,
That's what it usually is. It's a breakdown
okay,
of different ones.
so a lot of that. I would say
It can
at
be,
least-
that could be a combination of a little bit from every department.
Okay,
There's 3 Menards separated on here.
okay. What are the amounts?
One's $454.92, the other one's $811.25, and then there's another one that's $25.15.37.
And probably, there's normally just one, but because it's at the end of the year, I know there was a couple that they couldn't wait for the statement. So when they bought the stuff, they asked for a statement to be printed, so that's why you would get more than one. Typically, they would all be in one group. On yours, does it, I know on mine upstairs, it has what department that Schleppenbach, it doesn't have that?
No,
Okay.
mine doesn't have any, mine just has the check number, the date, who it was issued to. Well, it has the numbers next to it. Does that represent anything?
Maybe, what's the,
Might be the
Next to
fund.
Schleppenbach's 1916.
Is that the fund account, fund number?
I don't have a check number, which is the invoice number
I
in
don't
there.
see it in there.
here,
Where
Miles,
is,
you want?
where is the
that?
slip box?
Let me have that, right there.
Did Greg turn in some work for that door and slip box?
Oh, and there's another Menards that's $1,064.27.
Yeah, I think that one might be mine. I think we're at the 1,000. We're
That's the
building a-
streets department.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was right around 1,000. We're building a 11 by 25 storage in the back there
Okay.
for our spinners and stuff for the files to store.
Yeah, I was just trying to see how far down it was.
On the second page.
For the Schleppenbach. It was for the Peru Municipal Airport for gutters and roof.
Okay.
That's Slapping Buck,
Mhm.
municipal airport.
Correct. I knew when I looked through them the other day, but I couldn't remember where it was at. I didn't want to say without double checking.
Nope, that was it. Thank you.
Anything else from the audience?
We had submitted a request to speak to the Board of Works. Jennifer Yates and myself, Cassandra Kotkoski, are with More for Miami. And we just wanted to speak on something briefly. Are we able to speak on that now, since I guess we
I
weren't on
never
the
got the
agenda?
request.
Like I said, I didn't see anything on
There
the,
was no
but
request.
they could still
I
just communication.
submitted
couldn't
it, actually, I had submitted it to Brenda Douglas, and she said, oh, okay, I'll send it on to Susan, because for whatever reason, I thought it went to her. So I do apologize for that, but I didn't know if there was something that we could give some information on now, if you had a few moments.
Yeah, I think you can.
That would be all
I mean-
right, okay.
If you come on up to.
We're okay doing that, aren't we?
Okay, you would like us up there? Oh, we-
Tell Lori, I'm sorry, I think I got these out of order. I tried
What
not
do you,
to.
yeah, okay. Make sure everybody can hear us, although I'm usually pretty loud, so that shouldn't be too much trouble.
All right, my name is Jennifer Yates, and I am the Prevention Director with More for Miami, and we are a substance abuse prevention coalition here in Miami County, and we are located at the YMCA. Some of the things we are working on are working towards underage drinking and underage tobacco and vaping use with kids. So our request today is if you would be okay if we looked at the different parks and different locations in the community to see if there are signages that say that no alcohol, no tobacco, no drugs, those type of things are located at the parks and other locations in the community. And if it's okay with you, we could get you a list of the ones that we think would be a good place to have those signs at, and then we would pay for those signs. We would, work out to see who would put those signs up. But if that was something that you guys would be okay with.
No, I think that's basically it. We just wanted your input on if that felt like a viable option. And again, like Jennifer said, it's important to us for prevention, and also, we would foot the bill. So hopefully that's.
Well, I don't think we'd have to approve anything for them to go and make the list.
No.
I mean, that would be up to you guys if you want to do that, and then we would need to put them back on the agenda to come and actually take a vote as far as putting the signs there.
Right, yeah. Once you know the list and see where they want to put them, make sure
Yeah.
everything's fine.
So as far as compiling the list, I mean, yeah, that would be great, and
You
then,
guys can do that anytime you want.
now, I don't think we have an ordinance at all on vaping
No.
that I recall. I know there's something about smoking, but meanwhile, while you're comparing, doing the list, I'll do some digging on that.
Okay,
and we'll see
appreciate
where we're
that.
at on
That'd be
that, 'cause
awesome.
we may have to,
It might be something.
it might be something we have to take up with the council to get maybe an ordinance passed that, so.
I think vaping should constitute a nuisance, but
Right.
not it that way.
Right. But I imagine
Is it
there's,
enforceable?
I imagine there's cities out there that actually have ordinances already.
Yeah, I
For
believe Howard
vaping.
County might.
Okay.
So that may, I have some contact information if you'd like somebody's name for their.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right, thank you guys so much.
Yes, we appreciate it.
And one more
You,
thing.
Get your list compiled, get with Susan to get it put back on the board. of Works.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna tell you. Just get the form and turn it into the clerk treasurer's office.
Awesome. Maybe I'll handle it, make sure it runs. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else under communications?
Me, I got a few questions I need to ask.
Okay.
Back in July, I got some bids to bid on some houses here in town. Well, the bids at that time were over 10,000.
First of all, tell us who you are.
Chad Merritt with Merritt and Son Excavating. So at that point, I placed the bid, sent them into the city. They were over the 10,000 mark, so they had to go out for public bid. I bid them. I was the only bidder at that point, and on your 9/7 meeting, you guys accepted my bid and said it would be awarded at a later date. So in the meantime, after that, I hadn't received any communication on these houses, hadn't received no paperwork, no asbestos. I had neighbors calling me wondering when I was going to get started. I said I haven't received no contract, no paperwork from the city, no nothing. So we contact Brenda and Ron, and I find out that since I was the only bidder, they were going back out for bid. And I said, well, now you got my bids out there for public. I said, now everybody can come in and undercut me. I said, that ain't right. I said, I've won bids in this town before being the only bidder. How is that fair to me? I understand you guys have the right to do this. But now we had to go back and bid them for a third time. I won one of the houses that I originally won. Why is this happening at this particular moment? And I've got other questions to ask pertaining to this.
Well, for one thing, we have to do our due diligence with the tax money that's being spent on this. And just because you're the only bidder doesn't necessarily mean that you get to bid. Your bid is accepted as presented to be awarded at a later date, which means that if we want to go back and ask for 2 or 3 or 4 more bids, we can. Because we are experienced with tax dollars here, and we have to do what is best for the whole citizens of Peru.
Understand that. I got one of the houses for the exact same price I bid it for the first 2 times. So since my bids don't match up with some of the ones that just got accepted, can we go back and rebid them again? I mean, would that make it fair for everybody?
Without knowing what you're exactly talking about, I can't answer that question.
Fair enough. I'd like an answer at some point on this.
Do you have anything on this, Dustin?
So this afternoon was the first this was brought to my attention, anything on it, so I'm not 100% sure the process of why they were bid multiple times,
Oh.
but
This is not the first time it's been brought to your attention. I asked at a previous Board of Works why his bids were the only bids and why you guys rebid on it. So this is not the first time it was brought to your attention.
the first time it's been brought to my attention, you asked why we would
I asked if it was
accept it.
legal.
If it's legal to accept the bids as presented and award it at a later date, which is most certainly legal and most certainly the proper thing to do. Why? Because you have to inspect the bid, make sure it meets the qualifications.
No, I asked you specifically, I said, weren't these bids that came before you before? And you guys said the same thing, like you have the obligations to the taxpayers to try to get higher bids. That's what you said back.
If I said that, I do not recall.
I mean, you
the
can watch
conversation.
them, all the Board of Works are on.
I just do not recall that
I
conversation.
believe there was some confusion because you were talking about when we sell the properties.
No, I was talking about
Well, you-
Chad's bids, and then I asked you about,
Okay.
well, why is it?
But
in
you
that-
just said to get higher bids. We don't ever, for a demolition, we would never want higher bids.
For a better bid for you.
Okay. So the reason we want the better bid is because of that. Now, when we only get one bid and it's getting close to the end of the season and maybe some others might have a better, maybe there's more free time or whatever, we can get a better bid. But if we can save thousands of dollars sometimes for the taxpayers, why wouldn't we do that?
And I gave you that when you brought that point up, but I just want to make it clear that this is not the first time it's been brought to Dustin's attention.
Right.
Because I did bring that up.
But I was under the impression last time when you were talking about it, you were talking about also the ones that we were selling, the lots we were selling.
No.
Okay,
And I understand that,
okay.
but where does it stop? The rebidding
It's-
and wanting to get lower prices. Where does it stop and where does it put the contractor? If you keep doing this to contractors, nobody's going to want to bid work in this town because you're putting every one of our bids out there
Okay.
for everybody to come in and undercut.
You said it yourself that you got one of the bids.
I got one of the ones at the same price that I bid it.
Okay, and now we had multiple bids. So
Right.
now, the thing about it is, now, if somebody comes in and says, well, that's a lot of money for that. Hey, we got multiple bids. That was the best price we got. If somebody comes in and says, that was a lot of money for that, and we say, well, we only got one bid. Well, why didn't you try to get better bids?
But this was the third time that I bid them.
Right.
Third time, Ron.
Okay.
You have to make, you should have a break point at some place
Okay.
to stop it.
And we did, because I believe you're starting on the 27th on that one. Is that correct?
I'm,
I believe that was the date for the
yes,
DNR or IDEM.
yep.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can officially start on that date because your IDEM paperwork that you sent us said that your license had expired
No, that's,
when you sent us the paperwork. I have to have
Yeah.
your up-to-date
Right.
paperwork, so I need that and I have to resend it to IDEM.
and it's actually Protex that did that one. So that's the paperwork. But I'll make sure you get the paperwork.
Yeah, I need to have that. And another question is contracts. At what point did we take them out? And what's the reason?
I've never had contracts since I've been here. I believe the contracts you're talking about are for the blight program, because I checked on that. The blight program, they had actual contracts that you signed. For just the regular demos that the city did, they've never had contracts since I've been here.
I have
Now-
been, every city I've worked in, every
I don't even-
municipality.
I don't care about the-
Guaranteeing me
Right.
getting paid.
The other cities I can't speak to. You asked about Peru. I'm telling you, since I've been here, there were never any contracts.
Do you make a contract with D&B and Galton Son when they do work for the city?
I don't. No. The answer is no, I don't.
They don't sign contracts with you?
You asked if I make contracts with them. No, I
The
don't.
city? There's no contracts?
The clerk treasurer is the only one, to my knowledge, that can make contracts. Yes, they probably sign a contract.
The last administration, the building inspector was the person that I signed contracts with to demo houses.
Okay, and I'm telling you, since I've been here, there was never any contracts when I was shown the process.
What's the reason
But-
of
but-
not having a contract?
I'm sorry?
Was there contracts with the previous administration? You represented the previous
Almost
administration.
certainly there were, but not,
Were
and I
they
guess
blighted or?
both. And I guess
Okay,
Ron
Chad,
just
you're right.
indicated today, just now, that he was never provided a contract. I assume that'd been something the administrator would have provided him, who cared
Plus,
for, but.
we send you a notice to proceed, we have that in place. We accept, at the point we actually accept the bid, and the bid is, we're awarding the contract to you, you get the notice. I mean, we can do a contract if that makes you feel
There's
better.
nothing guaranteeing me to get paid in a timely manner. There's nothing protecting the city that I don't do a crappy job. I do a good job in this town. I've demoed a lot of houses.
Never said
There's
you did.
never been a complaint on any one of them. Logansport just went through $1 million cleanup because they didn't have the proper stuff doing. I don't want to see that in our town.
Okay,
I want a contract. Whenever I do work with the city, I do it with every one of my customers, and I don't know why it's not being moved forward. It protects both parties.
so as a contractor, when you contract to tear down something for somebody over here, do they bring you the contract, or do you provide it?
I write it up, and we both look at it.
Okay.
We agree on it, we both sign
Be
it.
more than happy to look at the contract with you. If you want a contract, bring it
The
in.
city needs to sign it up,
Well-
write it up, and then we both need to agree on it.
And Ron, there is, we had previously used a template under previous
Okay.
administration. And Brenda should have that.
So we can pull that up.
Yeah,
Okay.
Certainly, we have access to that, and I'm assuming Chad has seen that in the past.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
minor issue.
That's my concern.
Certainly.
I've had problems getting paid in the past when I've had a contract, and I want it in there that, both parties are happy with my finished work, and that we get paid in a timely manner,
That's no problem.
and we can move on. That's my concern. And these houses that I bid, I got minimal bid specs before. Then after I get awarded, there was stuff added into it. Time manner had to be done in a certain time. Why was none of this put in beforehand to give me, okay, so I got to rearrange some jobs here. I got to get this done in a certain time. But I don't get it till after the fact. and then I'm put under the gun to get stuff done. I want to work with the city and do the jobs, but I don't want things just thrown on me, just like no one else would want anything just thrown on them to get stuff done. I can move stuff around.
Okay.
But I think it should be put in beforehand, so we have a level playing field for every contractor in this town. If we have a level playing field and I lose a bid, okay, cool. But if it's not a level playing field and somebody wins, then.
Everybody has the same requirements.
Everybody's gonna complain.
Everybody has the same requirements, and as far as the contracts, we'll start instituting them right away. And as far as the bidding process, again, if we only get one bid and it's a substantial bid, I think we owe it to the taxpayers to try to do our due diligence and get a better bid.
And I get that,
Whether it's bid it twice or 3 times or 5 times.
but the city also has to understand the process of what we have to go through, the fuel, dump fees, the costs, the labor, everything to do with
Right.
this.
And again, the one on 575 South Broadway, which is what you're talking about, that particular one, obviously now, anybody that, let's say somebody, Ms. Wolf was just questioning expenditures, as she should.
You know?
City council says, why did you spend that much money tearing down a house? I got 4 bids, and this was the lowest one, and we did the process 3 times. I don't know what else you want. It's hard to argue that when you only have 1 bid.
I get that too, but when I bid something and I give a fair price, and then everybody sees my bid, and somebody comes in and undercuts me by $100,
But that.
I know the city don't care about that.
The
but it's
the
not
first
right.
round of bids, if it's over $10,000, everybody sees that bid anyway, because we send that out, the lowest, because you have to at least bid that amount.
Correct.
So everybody sees the first bid anyway.
That. But when it goes out for public and then I lose and it goes back out, everybody's seeing everybody's bid. It's not fair to the contractor. Nobody. It's not fair to us. I mean, you guys work for the public, which is us. And we have to all work together to get stuff done and be fair to everybody.
Right.
It doesn't happen, but it needs to happen.
But you would have the option, when you bid, you can always bid, you say they undercut you by 100, you could always bid lower too if you wanted to.
I can,
Okay.
but I shouldn't have to.
Well, and
If I won
again,
it one time and won it a third time, like I said, where does this process stop down the line?
Well-
I mean, I'm complaining about the bids that the other people won on this last round. Well, let's go back and rebid those, because I'm not happy now.
but we received multiple bids on those.
But you rebid these houses 3 times.
And
Let's bid some of these others 3 times and give me another chance.
I'm going to continue to, as the building commissioner, I'm going to continue to be diligent. And if I feel like that we can, we have to bid again to try to save money, I will.
Okay?
And you have the
And
option
that's
as
what
a-
I'm saying.
And
Some
you
of
have the
these-
option as a businessman to say, I don't want to bid on that one.
And that's what I'm saying. I bid 3 times on these ones. Well, there's new ones in here. Let's bid 3 times on those.
I already have multiple bids. I'm okay with that.
But you weren't the first time.
What do you mean the
The first
first?
3 times that I bid those houses, you weren't happy, but
You were the only bidder.
one time I was the only bidder.
Okay.
The first time it was over 10,000. The third time I wanted it the exact same price that I did the first 2 times.
After we rebid it the first time, we received only 1 bid.
When it went out for public bid, yes.
So I wanted to get a better bid.
I get that. That's what I'm trying to
And
explain.
so I don't know what else you want me to say. I'm going to continue that practice.
And I'm saying, where does it stop? Go ahead, Betsy.
Dustin, is this the first, I mean, I'm just asking you because you have you've been around and you've been with different administrations. Is this the first time that you've seen an initial, like where there's just 1 bid get rebid, or has that been done ever in the past?
As far as the building department, I can't recall if this is the first time that I've seen it happen. As far as other bids, I've seen where 1 bid submitted and it's, for example, tree trimming for the utilities along the power lines. They just opened bids, they were way higher than they anticipated, they denied the bid. Well, they accepted the bids and then they were going to deny them and they were going to resubmit it for bidding.
So this is just new practices within the building department of not using the contract and
And
not,
I
and
wouldn't say it's-
rebidding things?
I wouldn't necessarily say it's new practice, because I just can't recall seeing it before. I'm not saying it hasn't
Okay.
happened, I'm not saying it has happened.
Okay, Fair enough.
Um,
But the
but it's not-
contract was used in the past and it's not being used in this current administration. They didn't know
In-
where the template was, so that hasn't been used clearly.
Possibly, and as I say, the last administration took down a lot more houses than this administration. It was priority of the last administration to tear down here. It's priority to build and get the people the help they need.
To me, the contract is a no-brainer. It
Certainly.
protects on both ends, so if we have that, why aren't we using that? We're 2 years into this administration, we haven't used the contract prior?
But we've had agreements already signed, we've had letters that went out, gave the contractors the bid. It's recorded that everything was accepted. We know the amounts. There are rules in place of what needs to be done. There's inspections that need to be done. So having a contract is a no-brainer. It's not necessary, but if it makes him feel better and we have a template, we can
You
use
just said
contracts.
you had a signed agreement with some of those other things.
No, we have signed paperwork.
Signed paperwork,
Okay.
that
You signed your bid when you
that
turned
was a
it in.
bid, that's not a contract.
And the bid then is accepted as
It's null
submitted.
and void, it's
And then
not
when
a
it's
contract.
awarded, I said, if you want it, we'll make it to make you
Bid-
feel
a
better.
Bid is not a contract,
When we give the go-ahead,
and it won't hold up
when
anywhere.
we give the whole go-ahead, then that's your thing that you're going to do it. And then when you submit the payment, you get the money. Right?
Yep.
Have you ever not gotten the money in this administration?
No, but sometimes it's taken 3 or 4 months to get it.
Absolutely.
That's why I want protected, and I do it with every
And
city
it may still
that I-
take 3 or 4 months if all the documents aren't in or it gets turned in late.
I understand that,
So it could
Yeah.
still take 3 or 4 months.
if I
But-
don't get my part done.
Right.
I understand that.
Okay.
If I get my part done. then-
So we're going, and just continuing on, we're going to find the contract. We will do contracts if you want a contract, okay? If we only have one bid, or I feel that the bid's too high, I'm going to try to reach out and get a better bid.
Can you
if
tell
we-
us that ahead of time, so I can bid on the last time you accept the bid, so nobody else sees my bids?
What's your question?
Can you tell me how many times you're going to bid them out, so I can bid on the last one, so everybody doesn't see my bid?
If we only receive,
Can you answer my question?
here's the answer. If we only receive one bid, more than likely, I'm going to bid it out again.
So, at that point, if you only get one bid, don't open it to let the public, everybody else know you only got one bid. If you're going to bid it out.
We have to
every
open
time
the
after
bid.
that,
Have to open it and know what bid
then there has to be something to protect the contractor.
Again, you can just not bid on it. If you don't feel if it's fair, then don't bid on it.
If it's a
Well,
proposed bid.
it should be fair.
It is fair.
It's not fair.
Okay. I'm just telling you how the process is going to work.
I understand how the process works. It doesn't mean it's fair.
Okay.
So, and there needs to be bid specs on these houses. So we know what we're bidding on these.
And there is, when you get the sheet, it tells you everything that needs to be done.
Okay, what if we run into unforeseen stuff underground? How do we know if you want trees removed that's on the property or dead trees, and who determines that? None of that's on the specs that I got. It just says house, or in concrete, or house only, or garage only.
Those are considered specs.
Okay, well, what if we run into a cistern under the house and we gotta dig it up because that's code for the health department?
That's
Do
on.
we get paid extra for that?
Not typically.
It needs to be in the bid spec then,
Okay.
to protect both of us. Because I don't wanna run into anything, neither does any other contractor out there wanna run into something that they're not gonna get paid for. It's
And-
unforeseen. If it's seen, fair enough, but if it's
And when we do the
unforeseen,
contract-
somebody should be responsible for it.
Right.
And that's the city. And it should be in a bid spec. It should be a little bit more broad than what it is to protect both sides.
And again, when we get the contract, so you can look at it, if you don't like it, don't sign it.
So you're not agreeing with having bid specs that protect the person that is doing the work or what you want?
My goal
You want them
is
to
to
do as
protect.
little as, you
My
want
goal
them
is
to
to
do the job,
protect the
but
city.
if they run into anything, you're not gonna pay them for it.
Not necessarily. What I'm saying is, when you read it, if you don't agree with it, don't sign it.
Well, then I will bring it to your attention.
Okay,
Then get the proper bid specs out to people. The
again,
last administration had a great bid spec.
okay.
It matched the blight program,
Mhm.
which gave it a level playing field all the way across the field for everybody. I don't know why it's changed,
Because the blight program is no longer in effect.
but the same specs work to protect the city. What if someone wants to come in and build houses on these lots and somebody buries concrete or buries part of a house and then somebody buys that lot?
That's what
You're
the
losing tax-
inspections are for.
You're losing tax money.
That's what the inspections are for. And this,
I understand that, but it should be.
this part of the
in
conversation
specs.
really isn't Board of Works conversation. If you want to make a meeting and you want to talk to me as the building commissioner, we can go over
I've tried
it.
calling you, Ron, you haven't called me back. That's why I'm here. I came to Brenda and I told her I needed to talk to you, and I called.
Did
and
you
left a
set an
message.
appointment?
She said I had to call you, and I did, and left a message.
Okay, well, I haven't got a message, so when would you like to make an appointment?
Whenever you're free.
Okay. We will give you a call tomorrow and we'll set an appointment. I'll
Fair
check
enough.
the calendar.
Fair
Okay.
enough. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else from the audience? If not, we're up for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?